Sean. Welcome to the boom layer, where I've had this basement studio now for a couple weeks, and it's been really nice. And I'll show you briefly around. But I've had the Hudson Spyder Mosey. We've got the Sony A7S III with the Polar Pro Basecamp system. Had some sound blankets, some lights, and the rest of the gear. And now it's time to take it down because tomorrow I'm filming something which I'm very excited to film with the St. Louis Symphony. But it means that this lovely chaos that has been my life for the past 3 weeks and getting to shoot these YouTube videos has to be collapsed back into the crates and cases that it came from. And so I thought I would do that, seeing as I have to film tomorrow morning. It's Tuesday night, and this is when I have to do this. It's the only chance I have to do this. And while I would have loved to have maybe come up with something more fun or exciting or something for the Tuesday night stream this week, the truth is that when I committed to doing these Tuesday night streams, I committed to knowing that there would be nights where it's just sort of behind the scenes and a quick glimpse in. So this won't be a long stream tonight, but I wanted to walk through how I'm going to pack and do a little bit of that packing so that I can be ready for tomorrow. Because tomorrow's filming is with St. Louis Symphony, and we're filming this kids concert. I'm very excited, and conveniently, my buddy Jay is doing the sound. And so often with my productions, I do the sound. I'm not good at it. I lean heavily on my Zoom F6 to just record in 32-bit float, and I fix it later. But I've got a lot of video gear, a lot of lights and stuff. But when it comes to microphones, I've got my 2 microphones that I trust, and that's it. I sold all of my lavs and all my other stuff, knowing that when I need stuff like that, I'm just going to hire somebody. And so I'm relieved that I don't need to also pack a bunch of audio gear to make tomorrow happen. I don't want to mic the St. Louis Symphony or anything having to do with them. I would so much rather pay someone else to do that for me. So that's what's happening. Welcome if you're somebody that's here. I will do my best to answer any questions that, I don't know what questions you could possibly come up with me packing gear. But whatever you got, let's have it, and I'll do my best to pay attention. And we're starting tonight.
Downstairs.
Oh, thank you.
Press to test.
No, thank you. Starting tonight with a checklist, as always, because without a checklist, we rely on habits, and habits can fail us. And so I'm going to pack everything into an f-stop camera bag, 2 crates, and a Pelican, and I think the rest is just stands, which is going to be surprisingly lean considering what we're filming tomorrow. But I digress. This desk has been a mess because I've had this sweet little YouTube studio down here for so long. But each time I get a little something out to test it or to run some sort of scenario or explainer video or tutorial, then I've just left that out. And it turns out if you just leave everything out, it piles up and piles up and piles up. And then at some point you just have a big pile on your favorite production table. I built this table, by the way. Even made it roll and stuff. I'm quite proud of it. I do use an H6, not as a backup. I don't know quite what you mean by that. Tomorrow I'm not capturing any audio myself. I'm not even going to bring the H6. Jay and his sound devices, like Jay is an audio mixer. This is what he does. There's no need for me to also mic things and run it as a backup. But no, I don't use the H6. I use the F6, and that's the only device I have. And Dr. Rohan, welcome. Hi. This is so fun. I was just going through, man, I'm going to pack so slowly. I was just going through old YouTube comments. When you log into your YouTube dashboard as a creator, mine shows me like my 3 most recent comments that I haven't responded to. And I've done a good job of like responding to any comments that come up. I check a few times a day and try to respond to people. But as I've done that, it would be like where my most recent comment was like a week ago that I hadn't responded to. And so I started going back and answering those. And now I'm back in like the backlog of my comments and just getting this place where like, I want to respond to everything that, any comment that's ever been made on my channel, just slowly, 3 or 4 at a time, either responding or you can heart one and that gets it out of the, you couldn't do that before. If you liked something, it wasn't acknowledged. And now I can heart something or like it I don't quite get the difference, but one of them gets it out of my feed, the other does not. But I found a whole bunch of like 3-year-old, 4-year-old comments on some old videos when I knew nothing about audio, and people weren't shy to say that in the comments. And also at the time I wasn't deleting the mean comments. And so as I've gone back into the archives, turns out there are a lot of mean comments waiting for me, and it's been fun to go through and delete those and hope that those people have moved on and found happier things to focus on in their lives. My favorite case in my whole kit is this Pelican Air, what is this, 1605. This big old guy. And in this case, and I'll bring you over, if you have lighting, the fact that I can make this all happen, oh, just set up on a C-stand tonight, that's kind of convenient. Can I do that? Yeah. So all of my lights, all of the power, everything now fits in this case, and I owe it to two things. One, I've been loving these Quasar lights. These Quasar tubes have been fantastic for what I do. Mostly interview-based stuff and like general lighting. Because they're a long source, they're not a single source, they're already diffused, which means A, they're smaller form factor, but B, they're really convenient and require less modifiers and stuff. But the cool thing, if you haven't seen this light before, and I made videos about it, this is my Hudson Spider Mosey. And as I take this apart, the ballast is pretty intense, and the cords, but it sort of has to be because it's an intense cinematic light. But it's got some beefy cables, which do fit into that. And here is the massive ballast, and I can put 2 V-mount batteries on here and run it off battery, and one battery will power this thing full power for an hour, as I've tested, which is pretty cool. But this light, once I take off the umbrella and collapse this little umbrella and add it to the table pile, the light itself is this, and this is it. And the cool thing is I can bend these to shape the light differently and do different things with the actual light and how it hits the subject. But more importantly, when it comes to packing up, take the little pin out that holds the umbrella, each of these things just folds in and folds up, folds in and up, in and up, in and up. And what you saw a minute ago, that giant light with the 4-foot umbrella, packs down to, save for the ballast, an umbrella this big, which I can crush into a bag, and a light that's like the size of my head, give or take. And because of that, we can come back over to my light. Don't get nauseous. Sorry about that. Ooh. And if I take off the baby pin, which is sometimes a challenge without a C-stand. There we go. I take off the baby pin and the umbrella holder, and I put them in this Crown Royal bag. If you're in production and you don't have a Crown Royal bag, get a Crown Royal bag. I don't think I've ever drank Crown Royal in my life, but you gotta have a Crown Royal bag. But so these Crown Royal bags, you can see I just fit that with all of its modifiers, or with all of its little clamps in there. I shove this foam in there just to keep it from rattling around. And then, presto, key light, massive key light fits right in here. And then I used to put my Hive 200CX in here, but I just sold my Hive 200CX because I don't need a single source light, but it gives me extra room now for my cables. And I've got one Quasar cable, and I gotta wind up all the others. But into this one case will go the power for obviously my 4-foot Quasar does not fit in this case. It doesn't fit in anything. So my 4-foot Quasar, I just carry with my stands, but the power for it is in here. And then I can take that massive ballast. Where did I put that massive ballast? I sort of need to, So massive ballast fits right in here, nice and snug. And then almost as obnoxious as that massive ballast comes the power block with its locking adapter. But this fits down in here. And if I wind up these cables, it's so, it feels so good. We'll just take these, make sure, I don't like to kink my cables, or you'll never see me wrap any cable around my elbow or anything like that. That gives me nightmares. But the last cable is this beast, which runs from the ballast into the light itself and controls the dimming and the color temperature and all that sort of stuff. But I'm gonna cram this in there. And then the last thing that'll fit in here, which is such a bonus. Here are the 2 V-mount batteries that can power this thing at full power for over 2 hours. And I can just put those in here, and it's actually, there's so much room left in here that I'm gonna need to put some padding in here to keep stuff from rattling around. But in this case, I have my entire Mosey, all the power for my Quasars, one of the Quasars, and my batteries to run it. And we're doing this shot tomorrow where we're walking through the entire like symphony hall. And the way that we have to do it is going to be we're going to put the camera on a gimbal, walk backwards with the gimbal, the people walking toward the camera. But on this massive boom, we're going to have Ronald, the DP, is going to be walking and shooting with, or going to be walking with the light held out, aimed at them the whole time. So hopefully it'll work. We will see. But thanks to this handy little bendable portable light. Yeah, so light kit is set up. We can come back to the checklist. Under the lights section, we've got Hive Hornet CX. Need to update this. Don't have that anymore. Quasar Rainbow 4-foot, yes, and the power. Quasar Rainbow 2-foot, yes, and the power cables. I'm not bringing the T8s. I've got the batteries. I've got the tube clamps on the lights already. We are good. Good shape. Light case. Ready to roll. The other big case that I'm not going to walk through here, this is a strange camera angle, but I'm okay with it. The other case that I'm not going to walk through with right now is my stand case, which is a SKG drum hardware case. It's this huge thing, but I can fit all my light stands and everything in it. But lately I've been using C stands a lot more, which don't fit in anything conveniently. So I'm not sure if I'm going to, I still have to bring that for tripods and stuff. But yeah, smooth. The last thing I'm going to pack before I shut this off is my camera bag, which should be exciting, right? That's why you came here. That's what the people want. Pull my table in. Come on now. I use an f-stop backpack. I have the Ajna, which is a great little backpack. This is my camera backpack, but usually I don't use the backpack. And the cool thing about f-stop bags is that you open this up and that's the camera bag. They call it an ICU, an internal camera unit. But with this, like this, I can also close this up and it's got handles by itself. And so when tomorrow I'll have my cart with me on stage. And so I don't need a backpack. I'm just going to work off my cart. So it makes a lot of sense to just have something that can sit there and not have a bunch of extra straps and stuff laying around on it. So got my base camp mat box, which I'll be bringing. But essentially this stuff just drops in. I've got my A7 III that I just put in. And if you're an emotional person, if you're sentimental, you should know that my A7 III has lasted me a long time, and it's been a great camera, and I've gotten a ton done, a lot of my work, and I'm filming with it tomorrow, and then Thursday, I'm selling it. Goodbye. But the Sony A7S III is coming, and I need to throw this battery on the charger. I end up traveling with the A7S III. I keep the lens on it because, as you'll see, my layout in here, it's just convenient to fit in there as I've got it. And then here is where we put the 70-200. And I would call that it, but I'm gonna bring the 20mm f2.8 just for that walking in shot, so we can go 20mm on it, which would be nice and wide. And this doesn't always fit perfectly in here, but I'm gonna cram it there for the time being. And then I've talked about this quite a lot lately, but the NAR box, and for all of the problems the company is having right now, and I don't recommend buying one if you don't already own one, because the company it seems insolvent or forfeited or something like that. I made too many videos about it lately, but I still love mine because mine still works. But I fit that in there. And then the last real thing that I'm going to put in here, I have my small HD monitors and their cabling. And these spider clamps by iFootage, these little things are fantastic. But I'm going to put that monitor in there and open this up, close that down, and then I've made videos about these two, but this is the small HD Teradek system. So they actually have, I can put this on camera and transmit the video wirelessly to this, like make it a client monitor or director's monitor. But most of the time I just use them separately, and I disable the wireless capability. So tomorrow, we're running 2 cameras, one will be on each camera, and there won't be any wireless transmission between them. Forgive my camera knowledge. You don't have to ask for forgiveness. The project tomorrow, we are filming in 4K, but the project will be delivered in 1080. And the reason we're filming in 4K is because we want this really, again, this is a strange camera angle. We want this really wide shot that it's going to be 2 people talking on camera, sort of on opposite sides of a piano. And by shooting it wide in 4K, we'll be able to crop in on that a little bit and still deliver in 1080 without losing resolution. Whereas if we filmed in 1080, if we zoomed in on that, we would lose a lot of resolution. They would be sort of fuzzy. So by filming in 4K, especially when we do when there's only one person on camera, we can film wide and then just crop in, and it's still 4K, or it's still 1080, so we don't lose any resolution. So yeah, our project will be in 1080, but we're filming in 4K to make it easier to edit without having extra camera, without having like a wide camera and a tight camera shooting very similar angles. We'll just shoot one wide in high resolution and then crop in on it. But the only other things that need to go in here, my batteries are still charging. Good old SD cards. I fantasize about a world where there's a better storage solution than this, and then just having cards strewn about, but alas, that's the world I live in. And yeah, we've got 2 128 cards and 2 64 cards for tomorrow, and then I've got another 80 gigabyte what am I talking about? CF Express Type A card. And I get that the extra pieces will rattle around in there, but this slides right in there. Got my color checker, the little guy, the passport, but I will bring the big slate and everything else tomorrow as well. But I think if I showed up with this, the stands and the lights, I'm in good shape. Which is so crazy. If you're anyone who's been Don't forget laptop for DIT. Oh, Jay. Who needs a laptop for DIT when I have the now bankrupt Narbox that I'll be bringing along? For anyone just joining us, Jay, who just commented about that, is the sound guy that's saving me a bunch of work tomorrow and saving me a lot of stress about capturing audio properly for the St. Louis Symphony. So thanks, Jay. Yeah, no laptop. We're flying via Narbox tomorrow. But yeah, it's cool for anyone who's been doing video production for a while. Our kits, while we've gotten more and more gear and gotten more and more stuff, I feel like our kits have gotten smaller and smaller. And say for stands, which you can't do much about because you want a big heavy metal stand, save for that, it's smaller. Like the cameras are this tiny, and this is going to shoot 4K plenty well. The autofocus on this we're going to rely on tomorrow, believe it or not. And they haven't let us down for shoots. This is the 5th shoot that I'm doing for the Symphony, and these cameras have come to play every time, which is pretty awesome. So I'm excited for tomorrow, and I wish that we had the bandwidth and time to like do any sort of behind the scenes capturing to like walk along and share what we're up to and how we do stuff like this. But it's a 3-person crew. It's going to be Jay, myself, and my buddy Ronald. Ronald running the cameras, me directing and producing, and Jay running sound. And then their creative director will help on this project, will help direct as well. And we're following a script. We've got a teleprompter we're going to run. Oh, that's the other. Got to make sure I bring the stands for the teleprompter. I will obviously remember that because I have a checklist. let's be serious. So that's, I'm calling it here. We'll go down the list real quick. Cameras, check. Batteries, no. Lenses, 1, 2, 3, check. ND filters, don't need them tomorrow since we're shooting indoors and controlling the light, but I've got the matte box that I'll be bringing. Charger, don't need them. We're only filming for 2 hours and we've got way too many batteries for that anyway. Watch me jinx it. Watch that be the jinx. So charger, no. Screwdriver. I say screwdriver, but it's a multi-tool that I just keep the screwdriver out on, and it gets taken away from me when I fly. And cleaning kit, we got this guy and the lens cloth. Good to go. Small HD focus, 5-inch with batteries, the mounting bracket, don't need that, and the HDMI cables. Got to make sure I get the HDMI cables. And the mounting plates, there's one on that guy, one on this guy. And that's a story I think I've told before, but I always keep my mounting plates on my camera, not on the tripod. It's just faster that way. And I had someone borrow a tripod. We were doing a shoot and my tripod was beefier, and they're like, here, we'll take your tripod, you take ours. And then they got to where they were going and they had no mounting plate. They were like, hey, where's the mounting plate? I'm like, well, it's on my camera. Where's yours? And they're like, our mounting plate is on the... So I had 2, they had none. And so it's something to communicate about. And that was the reason why mounting plates made it onto the checklist. External battery I need to charge. Thanks for reminding myself. And the color checker. This whole microphone section, don't need it. Don't need it at all. Thanks, Jay. And I'll need to charge the Ronin and get the tripods, not using a drone. Grip and electric, we'll just make sure we've got power and stands. And then my heavy cart I will need to lug up the stairs and load into my truck. That's it. Thanks for watching along. I appreciate it. Other comments that I missed? I can't see here. Top chat, live chat, all messages are visible. Have a great show. Wish you could read my... Okay, I'm going backwards through here. There's a lot. Thank you. I'll respond to these in the chat later. The name of the Starlight is the Hudson Spider Mosey. They've got one called the Redback, which is about 3 times as powerful, and it has 8 legs. And then they have the Mosey, which is 6 legs. And the Mosey, actually, that little can fits inside the Redback. That's how big the Redback is. So Hudson Spider Mosey is that wonderful, wonderful light. And I've made videos about that light on my channel, like just dedicated to how awesome that light is and what it does with the umbrellas and stuff. So that's all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for following along. Thanks for dealing with this crazy, weird camera angle and supporting the streams. I appreciate it. Have a great night. See you later. Bye.